Mr. Grynberg, you talked about in the numbers the fact that we are seeing a global automotive slowdown. We've seen that reflected, for instance, in other sets of numbers coming out from the likes of Daimler. Can you be a bit more specific about what is happening here? I'm curious, are we seeing a slowdown in the more traditional combustion engine? Are we still seeing an acceleration when it comes to EV?
Yes, Guy, that's exactly the picture. I believe we see a more pronounced slowdown in the conventional combustion engines, while the trend and the move to cleaner mobility continues at a very sustained pace. I mean, last year the sales of electric vehicles rose by 60% year on year, and we expect another year of significant growth in 2019.
In another sector, we are seeing a lot of news circulating about a slowdown in the mobile phone segment as well. Are you seeing that reflected in your business too? And how long do you think that might last for?
Yes, unfortunately, I have to admit that we have seen that in our business starting in the last quarter of 2018, and the softness seems to continue for the time being. Now, as considering where we are in the value chain, it is somewhat difficult for us to make out how long this could prevail, because there may be a level of inventories that still have to be worked off the system before the demand for our materials starts to pick up again.
As you say, you are sort of a little further down the value chain, but let's go a little further down the value chain and talk a little bit about the raw materials that you use. Can you give us, do you have any concern about the availability of cobalt?
Well, Umicore, as you may know, is one of the pioneers in terms of procuring sustainable and ethical cobalt, and actually we're the first company in that value chain that provides materials of a certified, clean and ethical origin. And of course, by being so selective in our supply policy, this means that we have access to a more limited number of sources of raw materials. So we have really to be vigilant and make sure that we contract on a long-term basis with reliable partners the requirements that we will need that we'll have for our business. Next to that, we are developing quite rapidly our recycling capabilities in order to complement our needs of scarce materials such as cobalt. The view of the company from a strategic point of view is that in the long run, the success of mass electrification will depend on a closed-loop approach where recycling plays an important role to make sure that the materials are not getting lost in any landfill and can be reutilized in a sensible manner.